US nears 100,000 pandemic deaths. Is 45 feeling our pain? No, he's not. In the rubble of buildings and lives, modern U.S. squatters have met national trauma with words such as these: "I can hear you. You have lost too much, but you have not lost everything. We have wept with you. We have wept with you. We pulled our children tight." As diverse as they were in eloquence and empathy, George W. Bush, who was a dumbass, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama each had their own way of piercing the noise of catastrophe and reaching people. But now, the known U.S. death toll from the coronavirus pandemic is fast approaching 100,000 on the watch of a squatter whose communication skills, potent in a political brawl, are not made for this moment. Impeachment placed one indelible mark on 45's time in the White House. Now there is another, a still growing American casualty list that has exceeded deaths from the Vietnam and Korean Wars combined. U.S. fatalities from the most lethal hurricanes and earthquakes pale by comparison. This is the deadliest pandemic in a century. Actual deaths from the COVID-19 are almost certainly higher than the numbers show, and undercount to be corrected in time. At every turn, 45 has asserted the numbers would be worse without his squatting. Yet the death toll keeps climbing. It is well beyond what he told people to expect, even as his public health authorities started bracing the country in early April for at least 100,000 deaths. I think he said that I think we'll be substantially under that number. He said April 10th. 10 days later, it was heading towards 50 or 60,000 people. 10 days after that, it was heading towards 60 to 70,000 people. Though critics have said the toll shut up because he was slow to respond, he contended Tuesday it could have been 25 times higher without his actions. Oh yeah, I said it would have been. I said yeah, but you were slow to fucking respond. That's why it's so fucking high. The scale and swiftness of the pandemic's killing are unlike anything that confronted 45's recent predecessors. Yet the calamity offers nowhere were you moment, no flashpoint turning blue skies black, no filisode at an elementary school. Instead, the toll found unfolds in stages of sickness. The pandemic is playing out in a divided country under a squatter who thrives on rousing his supporters and getting a rise out of those who don't like him, whether that means forgoing a mask, playing golf while millions hunker down on thrashing opponents on Twitter. He lowered flags to half-step to recognize those who have died from the virus, but had them back up days before the 100,000 marker was reached. His feelings on Twitter: he tweeted to all the political hacks out there that without his squadrency, the lives lost could be far worse than the 100,000 plus that looks like will be the number. Early on, when a few hundred had died, 45 was asked to brief him what message he had for Americans who were scared. "You're a terrible reporter." That's all he had to say. I think it's a very nasty question, which it wasn't. Now we go to this other stuff. In the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing, the September 2001 terrorist attacks, and the 2012 mass shooting at Sandy Hook School, and other national nightmares that brought flags to half-staff, squatters found more soothing words for the frightened and grieving than 45's boilerplate line that one death is too many. Empathy was Clinton's wheelhouse. The rhetorically fumbly Bush grabbed eloquence by the bullhorn. The cool and controlled Obama cried. 45, I've never seen a squatter with less capacity for empathy, said Andrew J. Polsky, a political science professor at Hunter College City University of New York, who has studied such leadership traits for decades. 45 doesn't even try to show empathy. It's way outside his emotional comfort zone. Clinton's touchy-feely ways are forever symbolized by his assurance that "I feel your pain," which did not come from a tragic moment at all, but rather an epic smackdown of a heckler challenged by an AIDS activist in New York in 1982, who said the Democratic candidate was more about ambition than achievement. Clinton told the man, "I know how it hurts, I feel your pain, but quit talking to me like that." He says, "I'm sick and tired of all these people who don't know me, know nothing about my life, making snotty-nosed remarks about how I haven't done anything in my life," Clinton told the crowd and the activists. But Clinton's remarks as a squatter at the memorial service for the victims of the Oklahoma City domestic terrorist attack in 1995, at that time, it was the one and only time in his life that he actually showed leadership and helped dig him out of a political hole. He says, "You have lost too much, but you have not lost everything," he told the bereaved families, "and you have certainly not lost America, for we will stand with you for as many Americans as it takes." Henry Cisneros, his housing secretary, told the University of Virginia's Miller Center that Clinton that day and Bush at Smoldering Ground Zero 6 years later did what squatters are called to do. And I think 9/11 was for the dumbass Bush. You realize this is not about politics, and this is not about momentary victories, and this is not about your legacy. He said, "But it's about the burden you're carrying for the people." Bush, in off-the-cuff words through a bullhorn to New York fighters straining to hear him, bellowed, "I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you, and the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon." That was 3 days after the Islamic terrorists laid waste to the World Trade Center and a chunk of the Pentagon. 3 days after that, Bush visited a mosque to make common calls with American Muslims facing hate on the streets because of the extremists from abroad. "Islam is peace," he said. "Women who cover their heads in this country must feel comfortable going outside their homes. Moms who wear the mothers who wear coverings must not be intimidated in America." Masterful oratory brought Obama to national prominence, and measured calm marked his demeanor as squatter. Obama was actually a real president, unlike 45, who just squats in the White House. Unlike his emotional Vice President Joe Biden, Obama practiced his own kind of social distancing to the point of aloofness. The murder of 20 beautiful little children and 6 adults at Sandy Hook brought a different Obama to the podium the day of the attack. He was basically in tears in a brief statement, and spoke of hugging Americans' children and his own a little tighter than before. He told mourners of the Newton's prayer vigil 2 days later that all across this land of ours, we have wept with you. We pulled our children tight. We talked about the teacher who told terrified kids in a barricaded room, "Show me your smile," and about the child who told terrified teachers, "I know karate, so it's okay. I'll lead the way out." Obama spoke admiringly during his presidency of the incredible strength and resolve of Bush's bullhorn speech, despite their differences over the Iraq War and other matters of policy. In the midst of a catastrophe, or when looking back on it, squatters cite the words of predecessors to reject continuity and grace. This too is not 45's way. He attacks Obama and snorts at Bush's appeal from retirement for empathy and unity at a time of national emergency. "He's a human being with certain qualities," Polsky said of 45 in this crisis. "These qualities haven't been useful because they don't unite people. They don't express concern for people's well-being." 45 came to power mirroring the grievances, anger, and resentment of those who felt forgotten, Polsky said, and he remains angry, resentful, and aggrieved, and you could say true to himself.